All right, we're live. Welcome to the late afternoon show, everybody. It's your boy Tim. I always like to let that beat drop. Hey, on the same frequency. Hey, it's all about the vibe on the late afternoon show. Shout out to Tuxedo. These guys are like my whole vibe all the time. If you haven't heard Tuxedo, go on Spotify and check them out. They got the song Vibrations. That's the song that we play every time because we just want good vibrations on this late afternoon show. It looks like nighttime because it's wintertime, but we're sticking to late afternoon. We are here on this first day of December. My goodness, I cannot believe that we are almost done with 2020. Good God, I'm tired of this year. Let's go. Man, and I feel like December is about to be super slow because like when you know you're inching towards a good thing, like things start to slow down. But hey, we're excited. We're almost done. We've made it through, which we gotta be grateful for. Not a lot of folks made it, it's kind of be, a little somber there. Not a lot of folks made it to the end of 2020. So if you're watching this, if you are with us, we thank Adam Katsarellis. What's up, my boy? Man, we got the tribe in here. So yeah, if you're with us tonight, you got to be thankful, right? Not a lot of folks made it to December. So we thank God that we were able to make it. We had Thanksgiving. Thank God for Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving was kind of tough this year, right? Because folks weren't able to really gather around and, have big family gatherings and things like that, which kind of sucked, but we dealt with it. I had a good Thanksgiving, definitely had a good Thanksgiving. I definitely started to practice social distancing. Yeah, I started practicing social distancing, not from people though. I was close to all my people. I was social distancing from leftovers. I am tired of these leftovers. Leftovers is a good idea right up until you have to have a green bean casserole for breakfast again. So I'm not about I'm not about that leftover life. But it has been tough. We're talking about it being a tough year, the holidays being tough, folks getting laid off. Can you imagine getting laid off? They got this government shutdown, everything is being closed up, and folks are getting laid off right at the holidays. Like, that is despicable. My boy reached out to me and said he was getting laid off right before the holidays, and me being the sympathetic, empathetic, nice friend, try to cheer him up. I was like, you know what, man? What you should do? You should try and get a job with Santa Claus, right? Go and spread joy. Be one of Santa's helpers. Go and spread joy and love to and gifts to kids across the world. My man took me seriously. He got a job with Amazon and he starts next week. So kids out there, Santa Claus is not real, but Amazon is real. So if you want that love and cheer, get yourself a subscription to that. What's up, Julia? What's up, Sharon? What's up, Jachi? Everybody joining us. Thank you so much for joining us live for the late afternoon. One more thing. Did you guys catch that Mike Tyson fight? I am so glad I didn't pay for that fight. Real talk. I am so glad I did not pay for these old men in the ring. But it was hopeful, though. What I did find out that is part of the new administration's bringing seniors back to work initiative. So Mike Tyson was saying that, hey, if Joe Biden can get back to work, I can do it too. So let's go. There's hope. Let's do this. Let's do this. So guys, I am super excited about the guests that we have tonight for the late afternoon show. If you saw the previews, if you saw the promo about this guy, I feel like I'm an entrepreneur. But when you see this dude's resume and to see the things that this guy has been able to do, I kind of feel like we're the same. He has a better bald head than I do. You can see I'm putting this video on to cover my little spots. His beard is a lot more shaped up than mine. So I have a lot to look up to. But we got John D Saunders in the house today. Let me throw up my vibe music so that we can get John in the building, and I want you guys to smash that applause emoji. Let's go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, hey.
What's going on, Tim? What's happening, man?
Let's go.
I'm feeling these vibes right now, man. I'm really feeling these vibes.
You're a whole vibe. I remember when I was in college, I wanted to look cool and look smart, so I went to Sally's Beautiful Beauty Supply and I got myself some of those glasses, just so I can look like you do right now. So you are everything.
Yeah, man, I take these off. It's a wrap. I'll probably look. I'll be facing this way, talking to the
camera. No. We need to see. We need to see that. Folks thought I was so smart. I fooled them. John, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. How you doing, man?
Tim, I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man. I love I see you got some bars, man. Drop some jokes in the beginning. I'm like,
I mean, I wish I could take credit for it. I have, you know what? This whole thing, I've been learning about what it takes to put on a show, and I got a phenomenal team, folks that help write, folks that look at stuff that's going on. I got folks that help with the graphics. So shout out to my team for really putting that stuff together. Now it's just for me to deliver it, right? I used to really, I always love, watching comedians, and you think that stuff is easy until you got to do it, right? You like delivery, the timing, and not having anybody there to laugh.
That's hard, man. That's hard. To make people laugh consistently back to back is.
Bro, yeah, okay. If I bombed, nobody else was laughing, so I know that it was just me. But dude, this is how we get our folks introduced. You know, entrepreneur, all about pitching yourself. So I want you to imagine that we are out and about. We're in this building, and you see this guy's like, oh, look at this dude. He got a nice little suit, got a nice little flower on his thing. He might be some money. Let me pitch this guy real quick. So if you were going to pitch me and we're in the elevator going from floor 1 to floor 2, tell us about who you are and what you're about, man.
All right. So essentially, I am a digital web designer. So I take ideas, thoughts, processes, things that the market needs, and I help create digital products. So I work primarily with startups, including my own. And I help other companies and other businesses develop their ideas and make it into something tangible via a website. Nice.
So you take stuff that's existing, processes and things that are existing, and you make it digital. You help the businesses, you help the startups to really maximize and leverage that platform. I like that.
Exactly.
And so how many times have you done this? Because I read your bio and it's like, you've been doing this, you've found success at least 2, 3, 4, 5 times, man. How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so I've been in the game, man, 12 years now, I'd say. I started as a guy that just wanted to kind of get and become a copywriter. So I wanted to write. I loved to write as a kid, and I wanted to become a copywriter. But then I essentially started building out these websites in WordPress. Most of you know WordPress. Yeah. And it was crazy because I was having these ideas and I was having these thoughts, and I was able to make them something tangible via a website. One of those being my mom's website for tutoring. So we created a website for tutoring, handing out some flyers, and people started to go on the site, fill out the form, and it was an epiphany, man. It was like, I had this idea and I was able to make it something tangible. I want to take this and run with it. And that's pretty much where I started, man. And I ended up getting a job at an agency after doing 2 internships. Whoops, just knocked my lighting out. After doing 2 internships, and it was just insane, man. It's been a wild ride since I started.
So, man, so tell us a little bit about, for folks that have not looked at your LinkedIn profile or looked at your website, which we will post. So once we get this live done, I'll post some of, where to find John D Saunders. But tell us a little bit about your successes to date, and where you see you and your company in the next 5 years, or maybe even the next, let's say 2030. What have you been able to succeed to date, and where do you see yourself over the next few years?
Definitely. So for me, I have a web design agency. So I'm the founder of 54 Digital. And I started this 6 years ago, and it was a completely remote agency. So folks are like, oh, you need an office, you need space, you need to have all these different things. And my thought process was, I want to launch this agency and I want to be able to build a remote team so I can leverage the best people in the world that aren't necessarily in my zip code. Yeah. And so I started to create the processes and delegate and work with my team to develop our process for building out websites. And the great thing about that is, while building that ecosystem and kind of developing my team, I was able to have my own ideas and kind of run those ideas through the agency. So I treat my ideas almost as if they're like a web design client. Mm-hmm. So with 54 Digital, that's the catalyst. That's the conduit for everything that's powering the machine, right? We're a small team, 6 of us, all working remotely here and abroad. And we're able to create this process, I'm able to delegate it, and then I'm able to have these ideas that I can build on. So one of those first ones was called blackwallet.org, which is a financial literacy blog. And that started because I was reading on websites like NerdWallet and Penny Hoarder, and being this young guy, 19, bad credit, in college, swiping my credit card like, yo, this is it. This is the one. I need to buy this. And you're not realizing that, oh, this APR is 24%, or you're going to have this issue later. Oh, you need good credit to buy a house. Like we're not taught these fundamentals in school, right? And so I thought of, okay, well, why don't I just launch a financial literacy blog that talks to my community? And that's what we did. So we launched blackwallet.org about 2.5 years ago. Ended up getting about 20 to 30,000 hits per month. We have a bestseller on Amazon last year. And what I tried to do is frame that content around our community. And so it really worked out well. And that's when I had the epiphany of like, I can build these things out for clients, but then I can have my own ideas. And I can, as long as I have these systems running and doing well and being able to scale my efforts, I can essentially get all my ideas out there to the masses. And so the next one was, I'd say the biggest one today is probably blackillustrations.com, which I launched in March. And essentially what happened was we were building out these websites and we were just trying to find more diverse illustrations featuring people of color, Black people, just more diverse illustrations. And it was hard to find. So I was like, you know what? Bet we're going to create it ourselves. So we prototyped it out, designed it out, laid it out. I went to the community and I said, hey, what type of illustrations are you looking for? What type of images do you need? And with that list, we went ahead and created it. And man, it hit the ground running. We launched in March, and to date, we have about 60,000 downloads of our different illustrations. We've had about 600,000 visitors on the website. And it's turned into a full-fledged business, man. So it's been a wild ride so far. Man.
And the things that I'm hearing, and shout out to Julia for jumping on. Nisha, it's always good to see you. What is up? Jochi, my boy, thanks everybody for joining us. If you're joining us live, give us a thumbs up. If you're joining us in the late stream, like watching it later, put a heart emoji in there so we can see where we're connecting with folks. What I'm hearing is that you're building processes that you or your community need, and so it's like you're making something that you yourself can use or you yourself need, and you're finding value. You're not only finding value, but you're finding customers. You're finding success, in that, and you're sticking to that. One of the things that I struggle with, I think I was talking about early in the show, is sometimes I lack focus. Right? It's like I want to do 5 or 6 different things at the same time. But in talking with folks like you and folks that we've talked to in previous shows, is that if you hone in on the thing that you are good at, right? Like you're good at web design, you're good at like identifying these processes, you're good at finding out, hey, what is missing, right? Whether it's illustration, Black illustrations, or processes for scaling and building websites and things like that, and you're able to hone in on that and get really, really good at that. Success, and then anything that you do after that will be based on kind of that initial focus and success. So before we jump into our game, I want to ask you this last question: where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Where are you and your company going to be?
For me, one of my biggest goals is to create this ecosystem of opportunity for young entrepreneurs who might not necessarily know the power of digital web design, code, digital marketing. There's this whole world of digital marketing where you can be very successful. You can make really great money. You can have a lifestyle that provides you with the freedom and things to do things like this. Yeah. And I think there's just a lot of younger kids that don't understand the opportunity here that's possible. So one of my goals is to have an incubator where I have like a warehouse or a building where I can come in, I can teach young entrepreneurs how to really own in and build up their business, and then essentially send them on their way to be successful. And so with that end goal in mind, all of the businesses and things that I'm running and creating now all lead to that point. So essentially creating these processes, like I told you, and being able to automate and delegate, I'm able to free up more time so I can focus on big picture.
Nice. I like how you constantly focus on an ecosystem, right? You're building a community, an ecosystem, as opposed to just a end product. It's like, no, how do we create a system, infrastructure, things folks can network into and build upon. And I think that's where you're really going to get a lot of sustainable growth. One of the big things that a friend of both of ours, Tim Salou, always talks about is the power of community. Like if you lead with community and lead with how do I add value to a greater community, that's where you're really going to start building your brand, is if you start with community.
100%.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're joined, for anybody that's just joining us, we are on the late afternoon show with John D Saunders.
What's good, y'all? What's good?
You got some folks on here. You got your people. And we have serial entrepreneur. He is a digital marketing websites guru. He has done a number of things for himself and other agencies. And what we want to do is, in creating websites, you have to be good at telling a story. I saw your Instagram today, where it's like the before and after of a website of, hey, this is kind of what they were looking like before, but how do we polish up and make this, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing? How do we get this story in a way, that makes sense? So it's all about being able to tell a story. So we're going to play a game that is a little bit about telling a story and describing things in a way that folks can get. So we are going to play Taboo. If anybody has never heard of the game Taboo, it is a house favorite of my family. John was saying that it's something that him and his family love to play. I know my mom is a beast. Like sometimes I feel like I gotta disown my mom when we're playing Taboo because she be getting wild. So we're gonna try and play Taboo, guys. What we're gonna do is I've already sent John the card that has a word he is going to describe, and you in the chat, you are going to type in your answer. He's going to have a word that he has to describe and 4 words that he cannot say in trying to describe that. Whoever types the answer in first, in less than a minute, we got some Meaningful Work swag. We got some swag in it. So we got the Mr. Meaningful Work logo here, that smiley face to let you know about Mr. Meaningful Work. We got Meaningful Mondays. You can throw that magnet on your fridge to remind you that Monday does not have to be a dreary and dull day. Ooh, this light is too much. Let me lower this light real quick. We have the Meaningful Monday magnet. And then if you cannot get, oh, my mom says, watch out, son, I'm here.
Mom came through.
Sorry. And if you can't get enough of my face, we got, ooh, mama, there goes that man. We got Mr. Meaningful Work right there. You can put on your fridge or anything that's metal. We wanted to give you guys something. So we are going to start our music. And I'm going to put my timer for 1 minute. And
all right, ready? Is everybody ready?
Everybody ready? We're going to start this. And hey, Siri, set a timer for 1 minute. All right.
Ready?
Let's go. 1 minute.
This guy is 3 circles, and you can see him in the cold. His nose is a vegetable, and his eyes are made of coal.
Oh.
What is he?
All right.
Help me out.
Come on. Let's get those guesses.
Okay, so it's 3 circles.
Okay.
In the cold. He's got a vegetable for a nose and coal for 2 eyes. What is it?
Let's go.
What y'all got?
Let's go, Mom. This is your game.
Oh, Julia, Sherry, let's go. Come on, y'all. Come on. Oh, see, look at that. We even got Frosty. That's what I'm talking about.
Man. Oh, man. That's what's up. Julia got it. She was the
not want the smoke when it comes to Taboo, man.
Yo, we might have to do another one. And we did it before the time was over. That's what's up, man. You are a great describer. That's how you know you're in the right business, dude. Like you said 3 circles and his nose is a vegetable. Like, like this dude knows what he's talking about.
Man, you gotta do the hard side, man. You gotta flip it.
You gotta do the hard side. Yeah, it's like the purple side. I don't remember which one's the hard side. This was the entry level one. So shout out to Julia. Thank you, Sharon, for guessing.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Joshi. We're gonna jump into our next line of questioning here, which is, this year I've been really trying to build some momentum around the idea of meaningful work, right? So I don't claim to know what meaningful work is, as an expert or anything like that, but I wanted to be on that journey to figuring what that looks like in a professional sense. So I've been involving folks in my discovery, and I'm doing some research and putting some definitions out there and trying to apply it, to real life. But I always like to ask folks, that are out here making it happen, and what does meaningful work mean to you?
I think meaningful work is something that provides value to your community, whether that's a social media post or a website or a digital product. It's something that provides value to someone that they can actually take action with to make it in their life. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people create content, but they create content with the idea that, hey, I'm creating this because I want this in return. Instead of saying, hey, this is something that I learned from that I can share, that someone else can be able to use and take into and make an action or do something with.
Yeah,
that's what meaningful work is to me, man.
I like that. Did you guys hear that? And I'll be posting a summary of our content today, maybe the 3 key highlights, but I think that's going to make the list. Meaningful work, to John, as he described it, is something that adds value to your community. So you're thinking outside of yourself, you're thinking in that community mindset, but not just adds value, somebody can take action based on it. It's not just a nebulous kind of theoretical idea. It's something that somebody can grab and say, yes, that makes sense, and I can do something now or tomorrow or next week that will add, more value to my life. So no, I appreciate that, man. That was that was spot on. So the next thing I want to ask you, man, if you obviously get a chance to work with a lot of businesses, a lot of startups, and you talked a little bit about mentorship as far as that ecosystem and being able to add value to folks, in your community. If you could be mentored by anybody, you can be an apprentice to anybody, dead or alive, who would that person be for you?
Man. I'm looking at my library right now to see my favorite books. That's a good question, man. I mean, there's a few people that come to mind that I probably want to learn from. I can name a few actually. So one is probably Tim Ferriss. He's the writer of 4 Hour Work Week. He's like mastered work-life balance.
Tribe of mentors. I got that big old Bible of a book.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I just saw it. And then, oh man, this is hard. I'd probably say someone like Jay-Z is probably someone on that list. And I know a lot of people probably say that, but man, his business acumen is insane. And then the last person would probably be Guy Raz, the host of How I Made This.
How I Built This, yeah.
How I Built This, yeah. Just because dude has talked to he probably has so many tidbits and tips from all of these people, like the greatest at what they do. So 100%. I probably say him is like the third. And man, there's just so many. Man, I can't even think right now. Those are 3 off the top of my head.
No, man, and that is, the fact that we are surrounded by so many, thought leaders, and we live in a world. And the reason I ask this question is because I want folks to know that we live in a world where folks have access, right? If you wanted to connect with Tim or Guy or Jay-Z, there are so many different platforms available to us today that was not available, 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? So folks that identify and say, man, Gary V, I love this guy. I want to be mentored by him, through books, through social media, through community, through making content, adding value, all of that stuff. You have an opportunity to do things, and folks are explicit. If you watch Gary or if you watch Guy or things like that, you see the things that they value, right? You see the things that resonate with them, and you can align. If that's somebody that, hey, I want to vibe with them, you can align your, your content, your interactions, and things like that with that value, and pretty much like mentorship and apprenticeship that you wouldn't been able to get, in other areas.
100%, 100%. I agree. I always tell people, you can spend $15 and learn from the greatest people in the world by just reading a book. It's there we go. Nice. I got a new bookcase, man. It's getting a little
massive. I'm about to say that is those sides are just squeezing books in there now.
I just got Barack Obama's new book.
Yeah,
Promised Land. So yeah, that's gonna be exciting to start that. But yeah, man, I'm an avid reader.
And one thing, like, I don't normally call me old fashioned. Maybe it's because I'm going bald or whatever. But I like to read books, like books.
Me too.
When this came out, Promised Land came out, and it's him actually reading it, I was like, maybe I might do that audio book.
I do both, man. Like David Goggins' book, You Can't Hurt Me was great, but the audio book I heard is really, really great. So I gotta get on this audiobook wave too.
Yeah, Steve Colbert was throwing some shade at Barack Obama, saying that his book was too slow because it's the way that he talks. Oh. He said it would take you like.
I put that thing on 2x.
Yeah. So last question before we wrap up tonight. If you were to give some advice to your younger self, right? What would you tell your younger self based on what you've learned, today?
I would say continue to be patient, because social media paints a vivid picture of the highlights of people's lives, right? And it can sometimes be discouraging. A lot of people feel like, oh, well, I'm 27, I should be here, or I'm 40, I should have X, Y, Z. And so it almost creates a benchmark. So I say definitely focus efforts and just keep going, and focus more so on the value that you're bringing to the community, as well as the products that you're creating. Make sure they're resonating with your community. So the second part of that would be, always, anytime you have an idea or you have a product or you're looking for market fit, talk to the community and ask what they want. You know what I mean? Because you can't just make guesses. If you're going to guess, at least make an educated guess by talking to your community, getting information, getting feedback, looking at your analytics, really analyzing everything that you're doing to make sure that it's in line with your ideal consumer.
Yeah. That makes the patience piece definitely resonates. Young folks, I'm saying young folks like I'm super old, but me and the other young folks are super impatient, right? We want things now because we see things now, and we don't take stock in the value of time. Just let time do its thing. Build the relationships. Learn, like fail, right? Like fail. Know that doesn't work, and add it to time. There's no rush. Like the only person you're racing is yourself. Like nobody is, racing is like, oh, you have to be a CEO by 25, or you got to be a millionaire by 30, or you got to have X amount of followers by whatever. Like it's not a race. Like you do what you're doing, and do it well. And I think that's definitely a good message for the younger generation. And I'm glad that you are in the mindset of building a community, right? Building an infrastructure, focusing on digital, because that's kind of where the world is going. But I think you also have that opportunity to share with the young folks the time that it takes, the patience that it takes, the relationships, and those hard knocks that it might take. But they see it from you, who is successful, who's out here doing so. Like it's possible. It's not like you're waiting for nothing. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. And digital has expedited a lot of that. You know what I mean? It's not like it was back in the day where you needed all these things to start a business. You can start now, watch YouTube videos, learn as much as you can. There's tons of free resources online, and then test and fail. The biggest thing is with digital, the point of entry is very, very inexpensive. You know what I mean? To test an idea, to launch an e-commerce store, to launch a web design business, social media, it's a low cost of entry. And the worst thing you can do, I mean, not the worst thing, but if you fail, it just becomes a lesson. So the L's become lessons, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things that you can take and apply to something new as you grow and develop your skills.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of upside, and the risk is minimal compared to what it was in the past. So Guys, this is the late afternoon show. We are at the bottom of our time. John D, we want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
No package, check the Black illustration. Hey, mom and dad checked out your website on the Black illustration, so they're giving you kudos, on that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
So guys, we are so thankful that John spent some time with us. If you have any questions, please hit him up, and we will be putting in the post for this live his contact information, where you can find him on various social, his websites. I'm sure he's open to questions, comments, DMs and things like that. If you have an additional things that you want to chat about, guys, I want to make sure that you guys tune in next week. John D was a confirmation that what we got going on at the late afternoon show is something real, because we got some dope guests, like heavy hitters. John D came on here as a heavy hitter, and we know.
Thank you for having me, Tim. I appreciate it, man.
We'll have more folks. So, John, thank you. I'm going to put our little vibe out music here. So, everybody, that was our show. So, check us out next week. Tuesday. We out. Oh, you took the guys. Oh, it's jam time. Hey, line going. All right, guys.
Oh, man.
We out. Have a good
afternoon. All right, brother. Peace.
All right.